Welcome to Mortgage Lending Mastery, the world's longest running podcast in the mortgage industry. I'm your host, Lady Jen Duplessis, with over 4 decades of mortgage, real estate, and financial services experience, providing the knowledge you need to advance your mortgage practice quickly and efficiently. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mortgage Lending Mastery. I'm your host, Lady Jen Duplessis. With me today, I'm so excited. Today, I just interviewed Brian Tracy the other day on one of my other podcasts. I've got 3 of them now. They're all listed here on the side of me. But I just interviewed him the other day, and Michael just ranks right up there with Brian Tracy for me. I've known Brian Tracy for years and years, and it's so exciting to have you on today, Michael. So let me introduce you formally. Michael J. Maher is a best-selling author, a speaker, a real estate coach known as North America's most referred real estate professional. Born into poverty, he built a referral-based business selling over 1,700 homes. And he founded Refer co-authored The Miracle Morning for real estate agents, which I've had Hal on the show as well, and leads the referral mastery system. And I know a whole bunch of other things. What I know you for, if you don't mind me sharing, and we talked about it before, right? So if you're watching, I'm holding up my very first book called Launch: How to Take Your Business to New Heights. And the foreword was written by Michael J. Maher for me. So again, thank you so much for doing that for me on my first book.
It was an easy decision to say yes. That was the easy one to write. And, I only endorse things I believe in. I get probably 2 or 3 a month books to endorse or to do a forward for. And I turn down about a third of them just because they don't align with the values of love, generosity, and appreciation. And, they have in there things that I wouldn't want people to do necessarily. I certainly wouldn't want them to do to me or other people. And your book's the exact opposite. Everybody should do it. It's a blueprint for literally how to take their business to new heights. And it was very easy to say yes. And that book has made a big difference in a lot of people's lives. So thank you for doing it.
Well, it has, and thank you so much for your contribution to it. I really appreciate it. So I want to start with, for those people that don't know who you are, you're a realtor, a real estate agent, whichever way you want to call it. Everybody's different. Real estate agent from the Midwest. And you have to do a lot of deals to make a lot of money because of the price point, right? And so take us back to those days just briefly, because we want to talk about what you're doing now, but take us back to those days briefly and how, maybe what was the turning point for you? What was that tipping point for you where you said, wait a minute, I'm onto something here. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah. So, to make it as quick as possible, I tried cold calling. I tried door knocking. I tried emailing at the time was really kind of
or faxing.
Growing. Yeah. That was the faxing days. Definitely the spam faxing was a thing.
Yeah.
And I tried advertising as well. And just none of it seemed to get me a deal. Right. And then I was playing softball and play ultra competitive softball. And one of the guys on the team ended up looking for a home. Davey Davis was his name. And I think he just didn't want to put up with me the rest of the summer if he chose some other real estate agent. So he was like, well, I guess we'll use you, Mayor. And I was like, okay, yay. And Davey and Venice, I remember going out and showing them homes. And Jen, this is what is so crazy. I remember talking them out of so many homes. This was their first home, and I didn't want them to buy because I didn't know how to write a contract, Jen. I didn't know how to write. So I was like, I just figured out how to show homes.
Yeah. So you didn't have to write.
And then if they wanted to make an offer, it was like, I was going to be exposed as a fraud, and I didn't want to be seen as the person who didn't know what to do.
Oh my goodness.
But so we ended up going out 3 weekends. And then the 4th weekend, we went to a new home subdivision in a brand new elementary school area, just like a rising area in the Kansas City area. And I remember going through the 3rd model with them. And the 3rd model, all the bells and whistles, their eyes were this big. They were measuring for their own stuff. They basically moved in to the 3rd model as we were looking at them, and I knew my gig was up. Like I was like, I am going to be revealed as the fraud I am. And
Imposter
we went
syndrome.
to the fourth model. It was okay. They were in love with the third. We went back to the main model, and the agents were situated in the garage, and the on-site agents and a couple ladies, and the lady behind the desk does what she's supposed to do. She goes, well, what'd you guys think? And Vanessa was like, we love number three. We love this, the sunflower and this, that, and the other. And like all negotiation was out the window at that point. And she goes, well, great. A lot of people have liked that plan. Do you want me to write it up? And I go, yes, I do want you to write that up. You're going to write that on a contract, and I'm going to read every word because I
Right.
was
And learn from it and learn.
yeah. And so I did one little miraculous thing I did is I had gone to a team meeting on a Tuesday, and that was one thing that this brokerage did. And they had talked about like inspections and inspection problems and things that came up on the inspection. So I go, you write in that contract that we are allowed to do inspections on this property and that kind of thing. And so they put it in a paragraph 20, additional terms and conditions, that we could do inspections at 6 months out, and then 2 months or 3 months out, and then like 2 weeks out. Well, the 2 week out inspection ended up finding a major deal. Thank God the builder didn't fight it. He just did it. He solved it. And I look like a freaking hero because the inspector found something that was kind of major.
Right.
It ended up, we closed, and like that was my first deal ever. Well, Jen, you talk about when does the spark hit? When did I know like that I had something? Is about 30 days after the closing. The thing that, for those that don't know, slow pitch softball is code word for drinking beer with your buddies.
Yeah.
So everybody just needs to,
My husband does it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, when your husband says he's going to
Yeah.
play slow pitch softball,
It
it's
means I'll see you
really
tomorrow.
not what you think it is. So,
Right. Right.
so, uh, so anyway, like we like to party.
Yeah.
So it ended up that 30 days after the closing, I invited the neighbors, and then we invited the softball team. Vanessa invited her coworkers. Davey invited his coworkers, and we had a housewarming party at his house. And I got 11 referrals at that very first housewarming party, and some of them were Vanessa's parents. Ended up doing about $1 million of business with me in the next year. Davey's parents were involved, and like it just turned out to be this really big thing. And I immediately knew, first of all, I immediately got super busy, which I was not ready for. But the other part of it was that this is the kind of the first time I had ever been celebrated professionally.
Mm.
Was when we did the housewarming party. Everybody was loving on Davey and Vanessa, but they were also loving on me, Jen. They were like, Michael, you made this happen. And of course, the inspection helped a ton. And they were telling the story of the inspection and showing everybody where the fix was. And so like I just kind of caught fire with being praised and being complimented and having a little bit of professional success. I had anyway, and then you know had the referrals, and I then became the agent who did housewarming parties for buyers. If you bought with me, I would throw a housewarming party 30 to 45 days after your closing. And
Yeah.
that just took off because I would get a referral from Davey and Vanessa's. Well, when their parents bought, we had a house where, well, Davey and Vanessa are there, but also like the core family is that I basically owned, not owned, but like I basically became the realtor of the family for
Yeah.
Davey's family and Vanessa's whole family. And,
That's where
we got to see each other pretty regularly at housewarming parties. So.
yeah, that's where the magic happened. Okay, so I have some questions about that. And I definitely can appreciate that. We were talking about it too. We've done three sets of families, like three generations of families when we were in lending as well, and numerous times over and over and over. And it's such a great feeling, and it's so humbling that you become part of the family.
Correct.
I want to ask you. You brought up a good thing, a good point about housewarming parties, and I don't necessarily want to talk about them on the podcast today, but how has the concept of the generosity generation from the 7 levels of communication, how's that involved, um, in today's referral based business, and specifically, and you can talk about any evolve or evolution that you want,
Yeah.
but how has that happened in housewarming parties post COVID?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we have so many single people buying homes. It was a strategy that I used, home buy or housewarming parties, and the realtors wouldn't lead with it. I led with it.
Yeah.
And so I was the hostess with the mostest. They got to open the front door and collect the gift,
Yeah.
right? The charity gift. But we got to do all the rest of it. And so I'm curious how has that evolved,
Mm.
doing housewarming parties today, and then subsequently, how has generosity generation Gen evolved?
Yeah, so I love that question. And yeah, 2020, 2021, the housewarming parties were not even a thing, right?
Right,
It
right.
definitely went away from
Out.
the socialization and everything else.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing now,
Hmm.
5 years later, is a resurgence of the strategy and the thing is 2020, 2021 made nobody implement the strategy. So now you have no competition for housewarming parties.
Yeah.
Whereas before you would have it sporadically around and people would do it. And here's what's interesting is that the resurgence actually came from the consumer. Consumers started doing their own housewarming parties
Wanted
in
friends.
about 23 and 24.
Yeah.
And I literally, I mean, I see enough with the Facebook groups and things that I kind of observe. But there was a really recent post where it's like, my clients are having a housewarming party. I'm a realtor. I was invited. What should I do? Right.
Hmm.
And so the clients and the homeowners are craving social interaction. They are. What happened in 2020 and 2021 is all of our social circles were blown up. All of our habits of socialization were ended.
Yeah.
And we all became homebodies, whether we liked it or not. Well, everybody's reestablishing these social circles, and there's a real opportunity as a realtor or a lender to establish a social circle that these consumers go to on a regular basis.
Hmm.
Event mastery. That's why I teach it 3 times a year. But it's like, so they're having their own housewarming party. So the best place to be a realtor or lender who's hosting the housewarming party, because now you have more control of the experience. You can make it even better than maybe the consumer or the client even thought they could in the first place. You could do door prizes. You can have fun. You can do balloon artist. You can have all of the things. Don't do bouncy houses, by the way. Just throwing that
No,
out
no,
there.
I know. Oh
As
God,
an
no.
as an event expert, your listeners need to know: do not have bouncy
Face
houses.
painting is good. Photography is great. I've done all
Yeah,
of it. Yeah, I've
yeah,
done all of
yeah,
it. You can tell I've done a bunch of them, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
getting my flags and my little people that go, ooh,
Yeah, that's right. That tells
right,
them where the party is. Yeah.
right.
So I mean, that's the biggest thing that I see is that they're coming back. There's a big resurgence of housewarming parties and socialization. I think the consumer 2020, 2021, 2022, they were kind of caged and enraged.
Yeah,
That we really became more divisive than ever as a country. And why? Because we were mad already that we were cooped up. And even the biggest introvert like myself, you got the feeling of being cooped up. You
yeah,
got,
yeah,
that feeling. And so, everything was, we're caged. We can't do all the freedoms that we had before. And it kind of had an effect to enrage, but also, we saw the advent of mad people on social media. Well, mad people led to counter mad people who led to mad, and now we're just in
right,
arguments over stupid stuff, right?
right, right.
And the consumer is now evolving to uncaged. I have the freedom to go anywhere I want, and engaged. So
Yeah.
instead of enraged, they're
Mhm.
engaged. Now they're looking to engage in new social circles. Church attendance is up. These networking group, their memberships are up. Chambers are up. So a lot of this is seeing a big kind of opportunity within the socialization and events world to get people together because they do want to be engaged, they do want to interact.
Yeah,
So
there's
that's what
no.
we've seen in the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, and I agree. I mean, for myself, even for myself, I do business circles every month, with a variety of different people, just so that we can get together and learn more about each other, rather than, the know, like, and trust. One of the reasons it should be know, like, trust, refer, right?
That's right.
But the problem with know, like, and trust is that everybody knows what you do, not who you are. And so coming together through these circles of, the housewarming party, the VIP, I used to do a lot of VIP broker opens, right? Just for the neighborhood,
Yep.
so that looky-loos could come in, and we would just call it a VIP open house, and get them in. And now I personally, because I'm not, a lender anymore, I personally have gone to business circles and do them every single month for that very reason. I love that. I love that engagement. So let me ask you about this. So let's kind of get this out of the way, and then we'll start diving in a little bit more, with what people are doing now. But with the rise of digital communication, AI, I've had to adapt, right, with that. We now have hybrid strategies and things like that I've really incorporated in. I'm speaking at a mortgage AI event next month. How have you adapted the 7 levels to maintain those relationships and still continue, especially in the virtual environment?
Well, I love the question.
Thank you.
My firmest belief on this is that we need more HI than we do AI. And HI is human interaction.
Oh,
You
I
know,
love
yeah, it's
yeah.
it's uh it's what we're seeing. And here's the thing. In my opinion, AI is just a tool. It's a tool like the internet. It's a tool like Google. And it's like, oh, we can now search, and in 2008, 9, 10,
AI was a reason.
everything was Google. And it's
Yeah.
like we can search and we need to be on Google ads and everything else. And I think in 10 years, we're going to see the same thing about AI. It's just going to be another thing that we can
Evolution.
do that we take for granted, honestly.
Mhm.
And it's going to help us in our business as a support type of tool, right? We can leverage the three things. You can leverage people, you can leverage systems, and you can leverage tools. And AI becomes a another tool in our tool belt.
Arsenal.
But
Yeah.
but the thing is it's all the rage right now. And
Mhm. Like
everybody
social
thought the
media.
internet was going to replace real estate agents. Remember? Like they're
Yeah.
not going
Oh,
to
I
need us
totally remember.
anymore.
Yeah.
And yet we have more real estate agents on the planet than
Mhm.
we've ever had before.
Mhm.
And, the real estate commissions are up and all of these different things. And guess what? The internet did not replace and we thought IDX and, the MLS co-op would kill agents. It didn't kill agents. And then, now everybody's worried about AI it's not going to replace agents. It's not
No.
going to replace mortgage people. You know, people are going to make financial decisions with the advice and help of financial experts,
Yeah.
period.
A
It's
human.
just too much of a big decision.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to invest in a multifamily apartment building because AI told you to. You're
Yes.
not. You're going to find an expert and get
Yeah.
some help.
And
So,
I think
yeah,
this is, I mean, when social media came out too, I mean, every loan officer was doing a social media class
there
for
you
a
go.
realtor. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of social media
Yeah,
classes. Now everybody's doing AI
yeah,
classes. The bottom line is if you don't adopt the tool, you
that's
don't
right.
learn how to use the tool, then you're going to lose out.
Yep,
Because we've seen this, right? And I'm actually seeing it with a lot of mortgage people is that, some are, social media is everything, and that's for few and far between. It really
yeah,
is. There's some they're just killing it on social media.
yeah. Maybe two, the
Right.
lottery winners,
And the
and they're
same for
probably
agents.
really good looking, and they're
Yeah.
probably really
They spend
personable,
a ton of
and they
money on it.
probably show cleavage to get
Yeah, yeah.
mortgages,
Or they
right?
spend a ton of money on it. Right. And the
Yeah,
same for real
yeah,
estate agents, right? It's the same thing. So the rest of the world needs to see it as a tool, an
that's right.
enhancement to what they already do, which is have a personality. It's funny you called it HI. I still call it AI, but I call it actual interaction.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
There you go.
Actual
Right.
interaction. So I think this hybrid, again, it's a tool for efficiencies, it's a tool for systems, it's a tool, but the early adopters are going to get better results than those who are saying, well, that's not it. And here's the thing, statistically, only 1% of people in the world are using AI.
Mm-hmm.
78% of businesses are using AI. So we should get on the bandwagon because we are an intrapreneur as
Mm-hmm.
loan officers and real estate
That's
agents,
right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that that's, super incredible. In what ways have you been, um, advising people to use AI in the 7 levels? Is it in the email communication, setting up the campaigns and having more vibrant emails? Is it an agent? What ways have you been guiding people to use AI currently?
Yeah. So I believe the best way to use AI is to help other people, which is not how most people are using AI. Most people are using AI, number one, to feel better about themselves because AI, you say, tell me everything you know about me, AI. And all it spits out is positive. It's going to say you are so loyal and so good and so awesome, and you're a great conversationalist and this, that, and the other. And it doesn't say anything about the fact that you're not perfect, right? And here are some of your weaknesses, and here are some of the things that you need to work on. It's your best friend ever. That's like AI right now is the best friend ever. And the second thing is they're using it to for creative uses, and they're creating like bubble images of them in a box that is like super realtor or super lender, right? It's fun, it's cool. So they're playing with it, right?
Memes.
And
Yeah.
then the third way that I've seen people use it is they're using it for some type of SOP, standard operating
Mhm.
procedures and systems and getting some systems. But what I've also noticed is they'll request the system, AI will give them the system, and then they never implement the system. They
Yeah.
never put it into play, right?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
there's
that's
no
that's something that
accountability.
we've known forever, right? There are
Same
systems
problems.
that people never put into play, and that's one of the
Same
reasons
problems.
why people
Exactly.
aren't
That's why they need a
successful.
coach like
Yeah.
Jen Duplessis, right?
Yeah.
Or
Right.
Michael Maher.
And
And
that's right.
so I think so the way that I've found to use it that has been very effective for me is when someone I know has a problem and I go to AI and say, this person has a problem and this is the problem. What are, some suggestions to help them solve it?
Yeah.
And then I grab it and then I go and play. And this is sometimes it's just stupid little silly stuff. And sometimes it's actually quite complex. A silly one I had, Lori Ballin, who was a good friend of mine in Las Vegas. She was a realtor. Now she's kind of an affiliate queen. She does a lot of stuff with promoting goods and services
Of
and
others.
getting
Yeah.
paid to do it. And she was putting a new, like she wanted to put a bar to have an event or a party at her house. And she was like, I'm not even much of a drinker. What are the basic essentials of a home bar? Like, what should I have for this party? So I
Right.
went into AI and I typed it up and just said, here's the situation and what are the basics. It literally spit out like 10 things she should buy and some great advice was like, don't get the mega bottle, don't get the biggest bottle, don't get the, like buy kind of the bare minimum of certain things just to have enough of it. And I posted that on her social media and like solved a big problem with it for her. She went and got the things and had a great party. And like I didn't solve her problem, but AI did. But that's generosity in action
Yeah.
essentially. And
Yeah.
that's how I believe a really good way it and here's the other thing is that person, most people are going to take the advice of AI over a human being right now.
I know
So
it.
if I would have said, Lori, here's what I think you
You're
should
right.
include,
Right. Right. Isn't it?
might have poo-pooed the idea. But
Right.
I said, here's what Alfred, the AI god, said that you should have in your home bar.
Yeah.
And all of us, oh, that's brilliant. That's
I love that you've
fantastic.
named him Alfred. Mine's Gigi, by the way.
Of course, we got to
Gigi.
name them, right?
Cat
So
Gigi.
yeah, you got to name them because they're like a friend,
Yeah,
right?
Gigi.
He
So
is
here's
definitely an effort.
something that is really interesting that I did is, I've uploaded all of my books. I've been in 28 books where I've done forwards or chapters plus my books,
Man.
all the recordings of all of my podcasts, over 1,500 of them, right? Stages, you name it. You name it, articles, you name it. Coaching calls. We put all this into chat. And I said, where are my blind spots?
Good question.
Really good question to ask chat. And then prepare yourself, like get yourself ready.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
For what
yeah.
it's going to tell you, what it's going to tell you. And it was really interesting. And those are the ways that I'm using it. And even, excuse me, to your example of, what are the things she could do, you're still putting your personality in there. You're still looking at and reviewing and going, I don't know if I want to share that with her. That seems funny. Seems off. So it's a little combination of both. And my feeling is that loan officers and real estate agents should be using chat gpt to help them with engagement. It's
Mhm.
really about the engagement of it. So I want to change gears just a little bit here and talk about referrals. I coach heavily on referrals. um, in fact, I have a course called, well, and I keep changing the name, cash conversations to cash, intro to income. And I've used intro to income for many, many years. We recently just did conversations to cash, because so often the challenge I see, and I know you're going to speak to this and I want to hear your opinion on it. The challenge I see is one realizing that referrals are the powerhouse. I built $100 million per year mortgage practice, okay, with 22 people,
Hmm.
and I have 12 apostles.
Yeah.
12 of my apostles were my A plus, my best referral partners, and the rest of them were just there. And of course, all kinds of stuff were peppered in. But I focused on 22 people and built $100 million. And people are like, nah, I think I need thousands and millions of people, right?
Yep.
To be able to.
Yep.
So that's number one, is not the limiting belief
Hmm.
that referrals are dead and we just need to go out and do Facebook ads and do a whole bunch of other stuff.
Jeez.
And yes,
Yeah.
we do, but that's not the only thing, right?
Hmm.
The second part of it is, once you get a referral or once you go out networking, there's such a lack of knowing how to not pitch. And
Hmm.
that's where you come in with generosity. I totally get
Hmm.
that, right? The generosity. So help us understand what people are missing in today's world that everyone thinks is all tech and I
Hmm.
don't need partners. Where
Yeah.
am I screwing up?
Yeah. Well, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that it's a numbers game,
Mhm.
and all the internet has done is make people think more in terms of the numbers game.
Yep.
Is that there's an infinite amount of people, essentially, billions on the internet. So all I've got to do is go out to all of them. And when you're going out to all of them,
You're
you are
nothing.
essentially no one. You're
Right.
essentially a blip on the internet,
Much
right?
noise. Yep.
So it is to focus on the vital few
Mm-hmm.
and really and I would say all the way to one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I do this exercise sometimes when I'm speaking where I watch before I go on stage. I watch how they come into the room and interact and how
Yeah.
they greet each other.
Right.
And
Oh,
in
God.
many cases, you would be appalled, right?
Uh-huh.
They walk in on their phone, they sit down, they look at their phone, and they
There's no
literally
energy.
haven't greeted anybody in the room at all. And the other, I mean, just others just buzz right in, go to the front, sit down, and they're good there. And then you get the occasional hugger here and there, but I always the essential exercise of the greeting is I'll do a greeting where it's just like, hey, stand up, greet each other, and they greet each other, and it's like ho hum, and then it's like greet each other like they just gave you $1 million referral, and it's
Mhm.
like, oh hey, right, and then it's like, all right, greet each other essentially like you were best friends in high school,
I remember you
and
doing that.
yeah, and then they're like, oh hey,
Oh,
and they're hugging, right,
right.
and there are a dozen lessons from that exercise.
Mm-hmm.
But one really big exercise is how you greet someone determines whether you get referrals or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always say right after that, like in the next 30 days, and this happens, Jen, I get so many like Facebook messages and emails and text messages like the 30 to 60 days after I speak, and they're like, it happened. And it's like, so what happened was I always say that in the next 30 to 60 days, you are going to meet the referral source of a lifetime, what
Mhm.
we call ambassadors. You are going to meet the biggest ambassador of your life who is going to refer you once a month. They're going to refer you often, speak. They're going to be your biggest cheerleader and they're your biggest financier. They're going to be, but what's the problem? The problem is we don't know who it is. So how are you going to greet everyone for the
Mhm.
next 30 to 60 days?
Mhm.
We're going to greet everyone, whether they're poor or they're the wealthiest,
Yeah.
broke or billionaire. We're going to greet
Hope
everyone
or bum.
like they're going to be the greatest
Yeah.
referral source of our life. And here's what the human nature is. Human nature is you rise or fall to the expectations of the relationship. So
Mhm.
if you go in and you're like, this is going to be a waste of time, I guarantee that
It'll be a
relationship's going to be
waste
a
of
waste
time.
of time.
Yeah.
If you go in and you think, man, this person could be the greatest referral source of my life, they end up being a really good referral source.
Yeah.
But we have to do it one interaction, one relationship at a time. We've got to build 10 level relationships from the very first interaction. And that's a little bit against human nature.
It
And
is.
human nature is 10,000 BC. We're in the tribe and we see a shadowy figure coming over the horizon.
Yeah.
What do I, if I see that shadowy figure on the horizon, what do I have to discern really, really quickly?
Yeah. Fear or flight, fight or flight, right? Fight,
Yeah,
flight,
fight or flight,
fear,
or is
whatever it
it
is.
friend or foe,
Yeah.
right?
Friend or
Friend or
foe,
foe.
flight or fight. Yeah. All of,
Exactly. Fight or flight
yeah.
or go help them, right?
Yeah.
So friend or foe. And then if it's friend, then we need to go out and help them. If it's foe, we need to ring the bell and we need to be ready to fight, right?
Yeah.
And so we do that a lot in our interactions with people is that we build relationships up to I'm not going to have beer with them or I am going to have beer with them. Like I'll have a drink with it, I'll hang out with this person or I won't and we stop there. We build 7 or lower level relationships. A 0 is a stranger that doesn't know you. 1 to 3 is no chemistry. 4 to
Right.
7 are essentially friends,
Right.
right? So it's no chemistry or friends. And then we just like, we know we're not going to hang out, or we know we could hang out later if it happened, right?
And
But
that's where it
we
starts,
really need to
right?
go to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say that's where it starts is so I have a saying too that if you want to make friends, be friendly.
Yeah.
Duh.
What a concept. Yeah.
Right. Duh.
Yeah.
Um, and that's part of the issue is that people gauge especially salespeople. It doesn't have to be just in our industries, right? But people gauge people by what can you give me? What can I get from you?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even look at the relationship, what the
Yeah.
relation, friend or foe. They're just
Yeah.
like, what can you give me?
Yeah.
I call them skunks,
Yeah.
by the way, in networking,
Yeah.
because they're the
Yeah.
stinky ones.
Yeah.
They're the ones that you just don't want around.
Yeah. Or
Um,
snakes, right?
yeah, or
Takers,
snakes, right? There is
takers.
snake. Yeah, there's all kinds of them, right? Or squirrels. They're the ones running around collecting stuff. Or the sloths who sit in the
Yeah.
corner because they think everybody should come to them.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. But as you're talking through this, this is the surface. This is the surface of how you show up,
Mm-hmm.
right? The showing up is if you want to make friends, be friendly. Let's start there. And from there, let's discern whether or not we can have a relationship that benefits both of us, right? And it's
Yep.
not, I can't stand when I hear people say, let's see if we're going to be a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's see if we can complement one another.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can create a complement for each of our businesses. So I get that you're saying in the beginning, right? So number one, everybody listen, as you're listening to this, like be friendly. Find out if you want to go have a beer with them or a cocktail or a coffee or whatever you want to shopping, do nails. I don't care, whatever it is, go skiing. Find out if you want them to be a friend of yours first. But then here's where people mess up. They stop there. Well, they're
Yeah.
great friends.
Hmm.
And I've got 15,000 people in my database who are
Hmm.
friendly, but
Hmm.
not referring.
Yep. 100%.
Where's the gap? What's the invisible clue that
Yeah.
tells you whether or not this relationship is going to be great or not?
Yeah. So what's great about it is we're going to treat it like it's going to be great before it's great. So
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to stop at casual and friendly. We're going to blow them away with our generosity. We
Mm-hmm.
are going to give massive value first. We have our three values: love, generosity, and appreciation in the generosity generation. And it all is based off of love, right? If you don't love something, you're probably not going to master it, right? If you
Yeah.
don't love mortgages and
Yeah.
you teach them
Yeah.
mortgage mastery and they don't love mortgages, they'll probably never master mortgages within
Right.
mortgage mastery, right?
Right.
And it's one of those, like, love is the core to all of this, right? And then generosity is love in action.
Yeah.
So generosity is how, I mean, love is just a latent power until we put it into action. And generosity is love in action. And
Yeah.
it doesn't take money, right? Money is just one of the seven gifts of generosity that
Right.
we are able to
Right.
give to the earth. But then we have appreciation, and
Mm-hmm.
appreciation is love in reaction.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen to us, for us, around us,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't get into despair for the bad thing. We need to thank the bad things that have happened, because they have made us stronger, made us more resilient, have helped us overcome, adversity. And we also need to really appreciate the good things that have happened. So when somebody does refer us, we need to make sure we don't take it for granted. And we've
Yeah.
done a lot of research on this, is like, what causes a second referral to happen? And people, like, they guess all sorts of things, but
Yeah.
it's just communicating and expressing appreciation
Yeah.
that doesn't cost a dime. You
Right.
can just call and update the referral source and just express your appreciation. And that's what they really want. They want you to take care of their friend. You want that they want you to answer the questions of their friends, and they want to be updated on the status and how it went. Right? That's all they want. They don't want
Yeah.
gifts. They don't want money. They don't
Right.
want anything but
It's
appreciation.
experiential, right? So
Yeah.
it's the experience that they get, right? The way they feel. And that's what love and generosity is the
Yeah.
emotion that's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a 2-minute call
Yeah.
versus a 20-minute reactive call or
Yeah.
defensive call. It's an offensive
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
You know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Anticipate. That was one of the things that we had on our PLP, right? Is we had a watermark that said anticipate
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
knew how it went. And
Yeah.
if we hadn't heard for a while, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And I would
Be
say
proactive.
phone today too. That's really key. So
Yeah.
how do you measure success beyond revenue and referrals? Like what signs, tell you that you're truly making the kind of impact you want in people's lives and in the industry? What does that look like to you?
Well, I'm gonna surprise you probably. It is referrals, right?
Yeah.
We're going to measure our success in referrals. I mean, if I mean, take any business. If your business is, what is the purpose of business? The purpose of business is to be referable.
Mhm.
That's it. If and you're like, no, it's to solve problems. Well, if you're solving problems and nobody is referring you, then there's a problem. Like, why aren't they talking about? Are you just solving the problem at the bare minimum? And basically, I think any business needs to measure their success in referrals. I think they need to see how many referrals are we getting. And here's the other thing. I truly believe that our purpose as human beings is to be referable. If we're not referable, what are we doing wrong? We're doing something wrong under one of three categories. Number one is character. If we're
Mhm.
not referable because people can't count on us, because we're not going to show up on time, because
Yeah.
we're not going to show up at all, because
Mhm.
we're not going to get it done. Like, if we get a job, do we do it at 100%? Like, there's character issues. And then There's competence issues.
Yeah.
And competence is you just suck at your job. If you can't solve the problems, if you can't be a critical thinker, if you're not solving problems, you will not get referrals.
Right.
And the third one, in many cases, is the biggest mistake or the biggest problem, which is communication.
Hmm.
If we can't communicate in a way that is attractive, if we can't communicate our character and competence
Yeah.
in a way that is attractive, then we're not going to get referrals. If you're not getting referrals, there's something wrong. So,
Yeah.
and the first thing is it's kind of like weight loss. The only thing you have to do to lose weight is weigh yourself. That's it. If you will weigh yourself on a daily basis, you will lose weight, period. That's it. You don't have to diet. You don't have to exercise. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is weigh yourself. And what will happen is when you're weighing yourself every day,
Yeah.
you will start to do the habits that will create your weight loss. You'll end up eating less, period. You'll end up not eating the dessert. You'll end up walking like, hey, I'll take a walk here.
Because you have awareness. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with your business is there's a lot of metrics that we can measure when it comes revenue, profit, you
Hmm.
know, expenses. A lot of people are measuring expenses. I think that's the number one thing you should not measure. But I truly believe the number one measurement that will tell you the health of your business is referrals.
Yeah.
How many referrals are you getting on a monthly basis? And you need to track it. You need to measure it. You need to talk to it every month. You need to say, how does this make us more referable? How does AI make us more referable? How
Hmm.
does, social media make us more referable? And when you get a referral, you need to make sure you're communicating that to the world that you got a referral and how it happened. And then we need to really express. I just got a extremely high paying speaking gig because I got a referral and I followed up with the person who referred me, and the person who referred me ended up hiring me for this gig,
Yeah.
right? So it's simply like little strategies of appreciation, love, and
The
generosity.
great retrace, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
great.
that's exactly what that was the
That's
strategy
it
was the
is
great
the great
retrace.
retrace, right? But
Yeah,
you have to get the book in order to understand it, everybody,
yeah, thank
because
you.
we don't
Yeah,
have enough time to talk about it.
yeah, 7L. Well, I
Okay.
do want to
Yeah,
just
go
one
ahead.
couple of things real
I
quick.
know both of
One,
us are taking notes so we can ask each other questions. It's hilarious.
yeah, yeah. This is really is become like I interview you as much as you interview me, and
All
it's
right.
like because I'm genuinely curious, and
Right.
you've done so much, and your wisdom is amazing, and I mean like all you've accomplished this really is like I'd rather ask you a million questions than have you ask me. But I think the one big thing is that with I really want to emphasize that we have to build 10 level relationships out of the gate.
Mhm.
Don't just build it to a friend or foe relate. You've got to give massive value first. And that's one of the three principles we have is give first, give thanks, and then give back. And you'll notice they line up with love, generosity, and appreciation perfectly.
Yeah.
But it's give massive value first. You need to when you meet with someone, you need to have a homework assignment that you get that is going to help them and then help them. Kind of like I suggested with the AI with Lori Ballin. And then like follow up like they're a billionaire. Like everybody you meet, just treat them like a billionaire who has all this money that they want to give you and all these relationships they want to share with you. And you're going to be surprised at people how they end up going to that 8, 9, and 10 level on what I call the relationship scale. At the 8 is a client, the 9 is a champion, somebody who's referred you once. And then a 10 is like you were talking about you had 12 apostles, you really had 22 apostles. It's like you had
Wow.
12 ambassador level relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want everybody to embrace the power in that. This isn't about communicating with 22,000. This is about communicating at a 22,000 level with 22 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the power of this is you don't have to have 22,000. Like here's the thing. Jen has books, I have books. If we want to sell a lot of books, Which is better, a database of 22,000 or a database of one person? And here's the thing, like a lot of people would say, man, I would really want the database of 22,000 to sell a lot of books. Well, my next question is, what if the one person in the one person database is Oprah?
Yeah, it could
And
sell
it,
22,000.
yeah, it's
Right.
quality over quantity.
Quantity
We
always has
need to
been.
build relationships at an extremely high level with every single one person we meet. That's how you build it. And I mean, that's so counter to the spray and pray or the bulk or the mass. I need more. I need
Yeah.
more whatever. And it's like, no, you need better. What you really need is better relationships.
Better
You don't need
always
more.
wins. Better always wins. It always wins.
Better wins.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I think that that's really important, for that. So, okay, so let me ask you a
Yeah.
couple of real quick questions as we finish up our time.
Yeah.
We normally I keep these at like 38 minutes, but boy, we're
Yeah.
going long. We might have to divvy it up. In fact, we'll probably do that. But with all the success that you've had over the years, what's the one misinterpretation of your teachings
Mm.
that you wish you could correct or that people would receive the way you want them to receive? What do you think is a misconception or misinterpretation of your teachings?
I think people think that love is soft.
Mm-hmm,
Love is not soft. Like if somebody said he's a really loving realtor, I
mm-hmm.
think people would go, "Oh, he's soft or he's gay or he's whatever," right?
Yeah, he's
And
weak.
and
He can't negotiate for you.
yeah, he's not tough, right?
Yeah,
And the truth is love is tough.
it is.
Love is awesome. Love is actually strength. Imagine answering with love instead of hate or anger
Mhm.
or a rebuttal or an argument. What if you were so strong that you just loved your enemy? What
Yeah.
a could you imagine that biggest competitor in your office and instead of hating them, instead of wanting to like glue their door, instead of like, wanting to firebomb their office. I mean, not that any of those thoughts ever passed through my head, but what
Right.
if what if you just loved on them? What if you
Yeah.
just told them how great they were? What
Yeah.
if you just complimented and praised? What if you just like noticed the great things about them, noticed what positives they did, noticed what they did really well, and instead of and I will tell you, love, generosity, and appreciation is not freaking
Mhm.
weakness. It is strength. It is strength of character and it is a strength of business. You build your business on the foundation of love, generosity, and appreciation, and you'll have the strongest business ever. And generosity doesn't mean you say yes to everybody who wants a handout.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Generosity is you giving to the people that you want to give to. You don't
Yeah,
give
you
to
can't give to
everybody.
everybody, right?
It's selective and
That's why
proactive
there were only
generosity.
22. Yeah, I'm
That's
only
right.
one person. I don't have infinite energy to do that. I've always said affirmation versus avoidance to my competition, right? And the
Yep.
affirmation and recognition, I see loan officers go to events and they just won't even talk to each other. They won't, and even in my area, maybe in your area, the same thing. I remember when, I was starting to climb this ladder and get to the top 200 loan officers in the country, right? And people were even worse at working
Hmm.
with me. Like, I'm not going
Yeah.
to work with her. Who does she think
Yeah.
she is? Right. And there's
Yeah.
some psychology behind that, because they always remember me as a 4 and now I'm a 10, right? We'll just call it that. But, you have that credibility when you leave. It's in the Bible that way too. Jesus didn't have the credibility in Nazareth. He had to leave,
That's right.
right? And
That's
so
right.
when I left, and you the same thing, you get introduced on stage and you're a 10, but boy, in your own backyard, they didn't want to learn anything from me.
Hmm.
And I
That's
thought,
sad. That's
that's
sad.
really sad. It's
Hmm.
super sad. But I was always going to them,
Hmm.
always going to them. I never avoided my
Yeah.
competition. I always went,
Yeah.
hey, what are you up to? What are you doing? How are things happening? What can I help you with? Right. But I think we're kind of cut from a different mold. And that's what pulled us together years ago.
Yeah, for sure. For
Because
sure.
we're cut from this unbelievable mold of wanting to promote. We were talking about this in the green room, wanting to promote ourselves and promote ourselves. And there's
Hmm.
two different pieces. One is business and strategy, and the other is the promotion of what you're talking about, promoting us as individuals, being better.
Yeah.
individuals every single day. You know, and I'm doing a new speech, and I'm giving it this week at an event I'm going to, about the sword and the scepter. Right, sword is strategy. We need
Hmm.
strategy, but
Hmm.
it can only take you so far.
That's right.
AI can only take you so far. Social media can take you so far. You know, having strategy and seven levels definitely does that, right? Puts exact strategies together. But then you also need the scepter.
Hmm.
And there's that love that you're talking about.
Hmm.
The graciousness, the appreciation, the generosity, that sovereign leadership in the relationship.
That's right. The difference between influence and manipulation is intent.
Yes.
Right? It's
Yeah.
intent. The
Yeah.
intent is a scepter, right? Is what is your intent? My intent with my generosity is to be generous. My
Mm-hmm.
intent isn't to get referrals. But here's the thing. What I do know is that if they ever ask me, like, what can I do for you or how can I help you? The answer is referrals. I
Yeah.
know what my answer is going to be in
Mm-hmm.
every single case
Mm-hmm.
when they want to reciprocate
Yeah.
my generosity.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so,
instead of
I
this.
think that's the big thing is that,
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in strategy, but 100%, I mean, like housewarming parties. I've seen
It's
people
just,
bastardize housewarming parties. They
yeah.
have their signs everywhere. They are looking at it as an opportunity to do a speech about mortgages or real estate. And it's like, what the heck are you
Nobody
doing?
cares at that time.
Yeah, it's commission breath right from
Yes,
the
that's
beginning,
right.
right?
That's right.
And it's like, no. In fact, I had Jen, is an interesting story. I mean, just to close it, is that to kind of bring it full circle. At my very first housewarming party, I had a lender who helped Davy and Vanessa, and like he was the only thing I really kind of regretted from the event because he kept talking to people about mortgages. Like he kept bang 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 bang. It's like just bringing it up, and it's like, dude, just be here and drink a beer, like
Yeah.
relax. And then he did the same thing at the second housewarming party. Jen, I fired him.
Good.
1,700 those were my first two transactions. 1,700 plus transactions on the back end, and he would have been a part of hundreds of those. And
Yeah.
he got none of them because of this aggressive nature. It's like, no, the house ring party's for them. Like, I think the more I pulled away from marketing and being like the realtor, the
Uh-huh.
more referrals I got. It was such a dichotomy. It was such
Yeah.
a,
Well, you know that in networking, I call that being a spider. You've heard me say skunk, sloth, spider,
yeah,
squirrel, right?
yeah,
Snake,
yeah,
right? All of that. I call that being a spider because we're building a web
yeah, yeah.
that is attractive, that creates a client experience,
That's right.
not a one and done, but a
No.
one and one and one and one and one
Yeah.
and one.
Once you come in my life, you're in my life forever. And I'm going to bless your life. I'm going to change your life for the better once you come into
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
That's my entire, I mean, my epitaph, right? In 7L I talk about, the four eulogies. Have four people around you write your eulogy right now. What would they write? And then the
Mhm.
other is the epitaph. You write your own epitaph, what's going to go on your tombstone. And for mine, it's going to be, if you gave Michael an ounce of interest, he gave you a ton of love. and
Mm,
that's and that's
beautiful.
it, right? that's
Yeah.
that's it in a nutshell. I believe that's how you run life is. And it's not monetary. People are like, well, I don't have the money Michael Maher does, and it's like, no. Do I give more money generously than ever before? The answer is yes. But there are seven gifts that we have of generosity, and only one of them is treasure. Only one of them is money. The other six cost no money.
Yeah.
So very powerful, very
Oh
powerful.
my God, that yeah, I mean, everything that you say is just so powerful, and I hope that everyone is hearing this and listening in because I'm telling everyone, look, the name of the game is not, and we have to be ready for when the win happens because it's coming. Rates are
Yep,
starting to drop, the economy is
yep,
starting to get
yep,
better, right? It's got to give. It's a
yep,
cycle. You better be ready for when the win comes,
yeah,
and not
yeah.
trapped behind your computer and hiding behind or in the
No,
well that Gideon did. Jesus said, "Get out of the well."
that's right.
Get out of the well. Stop hiding. Get out there.
Mhm. Get out of your house.
Speak
Get
now.
out of the well.
Yeah. Get
Yeah.
out of it and get out there and meet a bunch of people. Okay. What would you like to leave everybody? Give us a
Mm.
quote, a mantra. What's on your heart right now that you would like to leave
Yeah.
everybody right
Yeah.
now?
Well, I appreciate it. And Jen, I mean, everything you're doing, I don't know how you do everything you do. And I'm like Mr. Energizer Bunny to a lot of my friends and like, and I'm like, you should see Jen Duplessis. Like, holy cow, she's written 20 books. She's got 3 podcasts. She like everything I've done, she's doing like 3 times of. And so first and foremost, thank you for having me on and
My
all that you do for the not just the mortgage industry now, but you're doing it for business and you're doing
yeah,
it for
everybody.
everybody. So I
But
would
not
say,
everybody at the same time. We don't want to tell
yeah,
everybody that I'm
yeah.
saying everybody. Yeah.
I think it's the same thing as we were in the ego era for a long time. And the ego
Mm,
era, back then the consumer was find me, sell me, like hunt me down and then sell me, like literally find me, sell me, or hunt me and sell me.
mm,
And and during the ego era, we had movies like The Wolf on Wall Street and Boiler Room and
mhm.
Glengarry Glen Ross. And in Glengarry Glen Ross, they really pinpointed what the ego era was all about. And it was
Always be
A,
closing.
B, C,
Always be
always
closing.
be closing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the ego era is gone. Like it's
Mhm.
gone. The ego era has been blown up. And I said this in 2004 and 5 and 6 that it was going away. Well, it's gone. The mantra then was we're number one. I'm number one. We won this award. Well, nowadays people don't care if you're number one and they don't care what award you won or what award you bought because the consumer's smart enough to know that you probably bought most of any award that you got. So here's what's really cool is we have evolved into the generosity generation. And the
Mhm.
generosity generation is a kinder, gentler, and yet it can be far more profitable by leading with the giving hand and by leading with generosity. And it's the ABC is no longer always be closing. The new ABC of this new generation of consumer that we are in is always be connecting.
Mhm.
Always be connecting with people one to one, but always be connecting other people to other people. Also, I would say always be connecting with yourself. Like always be connecting and first love yourself. The other thing is the consumer has changed to they are no longer hunt me, sell me. It is now hear me, help me. And it's
Mhm.
like hear me.
Yeah.
And we can do
Yeah.
that on social media. We can do that in our consultations. We can do that on Zoom. We can hear not not just like hear the words, but truly listen and hear me and then help me. And the help me part is even if you're not the solution for the consumer,
Find a way.
point them in the right direction
Mhm.
of where it is. And
Yeah.
this hear me, help me, that's where AI can really fit in, is you can use AI to help your clients and help consumers. And instead of typing things for yourself, type things that are going to solve the problems of your friends, your consumers, your clients, and honestly, your transactions. So there's some really cool things that we can do with that. But hear me, help me. And no longer is the mantra, I'm number one, the slogan of choice. The new slogan is, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
I'm here to help. If you're a company,
How
we're
can I
here
help?
to
How
help.
can I help? Yeah.
I'm here to help, and we're here to help. What people really, really want is they really want your help. They want you to hear them, and they want you to help them. And that's that's my final thought on the
Yeah,
generosity generation.
beautiful. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Michael, for all of your wisdom today. And we'll have all of your links below so that everyone can get in touch with you and follow you and get your book. I definitely want everybody to get 7 levels. And it sounds like you've added a couple levels. Where do we find the extra 3 levels? Are you doing another edition? Are you going to do another edition?
No, I'm working on another book right now.
Are
So
you? Yeah,
what I
me
didn't do
too.
in
You
seven
can't have
levels,
enough of them, apparently.
yeah, what I didn't do in 7 levels is I didn't emphasize level three, or I'm sorry, level two enough, which is events and seminars.
Yeah, I
So I really just touched on housewarming parties and
yeah,
I touched on the Gen events, but I didn't go deep into making that a central part of your marketing promotion and lead generation. And so I need to expand on level two, or,
I love
level
that.
one is one-on-one
Well,
meetings.
now it incorporates webinars too, right? And
Right.
look, all of that, I can tell you that at minimum 3 to 5 times a week, I was teaching a class, holding a class, doing a webinar, doing a housewarming party, doing a VIP housewarming party for the neighborhood, right? I mean, we were doing events and client appreciation parties because of you,
Yeah.
following
Well, I
your
don't know about because of
strategies.
me, but
No, it
definitely.
was because I followed your strategy for client appreciation parties. That's how I know about the painter and the photographer and the band
The
and
secrets. Quit it,
the
Jen. You're giving all my secrets away. Yeah. No, that's the truth. I
no,
mean,
they don't have this. They don't have the answers. They
yeah,
got to get the book. But
yep,
thank you so much, Michael. It was so great to catch up with you again. You know, you've been on this podcast years ago, and it
yeah.
was time. It
That
was
just means
time.
I'm old. That just means
Yeah,
I'm
well,
old.
me
Why
too.
don't you age? You don't age a bit.
Oh,
And
good.
here I am, years and years
No, I
later,
do.
feeling years and years later. So,
Well, thank you very much. And thank you all for listening today. I really appreciate it. Be sure to hop over to YouTube and subscribe to this channel where you can get access to all 3 podcasts, plus my TV show, and follow Michael as well. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on Mortgage Lending Mastery. Thank you for joining Mortgage Lending Mastery. If you found value in today's conversation and would like to get support, simply go to supportfromjen.com. That's supportfromjen.com, or reach out to me on social media. Keep watching and listening for more insider secrets, stories, strategies, and ideas to help you become a master in your business.